All right, hello and welcome to Wisdom Whispers, where I share what I have learned and experienced on my spiritual path. I'm Kerin Monaco. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a channel, mentor, astrologer, and card reader for the Awakened Feminine and Lightworkers. For this very first episode of Wisdom Whispers, I wanted to highlight a trap that I see so many spirit seekers fall into on the path. This is something that I've gone through firsthand, and what I'm about to share was probably one of the one of the top three lessons that I learned and that really propelled me forward on my journey and in life. Okay, so we all start out needing to learn on the spiritual path, and if we really stay centered in the heart, we know that we are going to always be students. We will never reach that point where we have nowhere else to grow. Now, authentic learning on the spiritual path is rarely found sitting and watching 1,000 hours of video and then handing in an assignment. It can't be found in an Amazon cart full of books. And it's not even really found sitting across from whatever mentor or teacher that you can afford at the time. But many do go that route, and many start out on that path. But what I find with that is that it gets you caught up in looking spiritual, and if we're not careful, we never really embody spirit when we go that route. So when I first start working with someone, they do tend to come to me registered with 3 or 4 different courses that they haven't finished, reading 5 to 10 books at one time, and even fresh out of a session with another healer or light worker. And this is why I personally place a very heavy emphasis now on living your learning rather than just getting absorbed in this idea of what else or what's next. Because looking for that next thing typically translates into either never getting started, a half-assed transformation, and really avoids turning that knowledge, turning that wisdom into personal power. Now, the desire to explore spiritual topics, enter divinity, it always comes from a very pure place, I find. But this need for a structured way of learning is a program that's really instilled by the Matrix. It leads everyone to believe that you need the certification or the book, the guru, or whatever it is in order to do, be, or have something of value, or to be someone of value. Okay, and just it negates that much of the spiritual journey is meant to be lived and meant to be, I mean, there's no other word but experienced, right? You cannot read about energy unless you're also willing to feel it. Okay, you can't be certified into oneness, and there is no gold star for your healing. So based off of the education system that we currently are raised in, which is a very structured setting, we're not always given, as students, we're not always allowed the opportunity to think and experience the teachings for themselves. And so we end up continuing with this very limited scope and mindset surrounding what education and learning entails. And I hear women all the time regurgitate information, but rarely share anything that they've acquired through experience, how they've taken the knowledge and actually put it into practice. And that whole setup leads you to believe that the spiritual journey is almost like this continuation of college or of high school. And really, if you're not careful, it can cost just as much as well. Okay, so what exactly is it that I'm saying? I am a content creator. I am a mentor. So of course I see the value in these programs and in these sessions. I, however, frequently see that the lived experience of it is completely missed by spirit seekers. And I see it even more in those that would consider themselves advanced. This isn't just for the newly awakened, right? So even those who feel like they've been on the path for a really long time and know a lot of things haven't exactly lived all of their wisdom or all of their knowledge. Okay, this system that we're currently living in and that I'm currently seeing time and time again costs you. It costs you time, money, energy, and eventually your passion. it all almost gets thrown out the window at a certain point. You know, it's years of time spent getting ready to launch a heart-centered business and actually never launching it. It's thousands of dollars spent trying to understand how to find your worth or how to be worthy, only to eventually realize that the constant seeking of your worth is keeping you from actually recognizing it. It's the utter exhaustion from doing all the things to love yourself at the expense of never really listening or really loving yourself. Okay, it's waking up one morning completely fed up with the spiritual path and desperate for an out because you have nothing left to give and it feels like you haven't progressed at all. All right, so I've really stressed the issue here, this structured learning. Okay, what's the way forward? I'm not the type of person that's going to point out a glitch in the system and not offer that way out for you. So if you resonate with this message, and for some of you, quite honestly, this message is going to resonate on a deeply triggering level. But I want you to consider if you're getting wrapped up in the intellectual learning without living. Okay, now if you answer yes, I challenge you to take something that you've recently learned and start to put it into practice for even just 3 days. Okay, I'm not asking for a month-long commitment, but sometimes that is honestly what it's going to take. See what that does for you. See what kind of transformation that starts for you. It's just going to begin with one simple step in a short period of time. So what could that look like? You know, crack open one of the many books that you've read on spiritual development and actually do one of the practices that you've highlighted and annotated and made notes on. Consider what you're exploring in one of your courses and then actually implement it into your life or try to see where that's being reflected to you in your life. Not just surface level, dive deeper into it. Make sure if you are a healer, light worker, or mystic that you are practicing what you teach, especially if you are out there teaching and guiding a lot. All right, don't just don't just tell somebody this is the practice that you need to do and then not do it yourself, or don't offer a teaching or a lesson that you haven't gone through yourself. All right. If you're in my membership, Wild Hearted Collective, I know we have time built in each month to really experience the monthly release, but I highly encourage you to go back to your notes from the pick a card, from one of the weekly jump starts, from the meditation, and really take a piece of that information or something that spoke to you and start to put it into your life, start to live it. All right. Let it become this beautiful, living, breathing, spiritual experience rather than something that's left in a notebook or on a workbook or something that's highlighted or something that you watched on a PowerPoint presentation. Put it into practice. Put it into your human experience. All right, so that is what I have for you with this Wisdom Whisper. If you love this, go ahead and let me know. Take some time to drop a comment about how you're going to live your learning down below. You could also share some love with me by liking this video, following my channel, and visiting the video description for other ways to connect with me and my work. All right, I love you so much. Thank you for being here. See you next time. Bye.